The unassuming rural town of Ingalls sits 9 miles east of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Many people are not aware the Battle of Ingalls was the biggest gunfight in the Old West. There were more casualties at the Battle of Ingalls than what took place at the gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona. Stay tuned and I'll tell you how many people met their fate that day. Plus, I'll put some bonus content at the end of this video that I'm sure you will not want to miss. Sometimes I find the adventure, and sometimes the adventure finds me. Like on this day, headed to Ingalls, this calf was out. I tried my best to find the owner, and another gentleman stopped, and we were trying to get the calf back in the fence, and then the calf just jumped the fence itself. Outlaws had been involved in various criminal activities, including bank and train robberies, terrorizing several states and communities hiding out in Indian Territory, which is now part of Oklahoma. A posse organized by the United States Marshal Evett Dumas, known as E.D. Nix, who gave the orders to the deputy U.S. Marshals to pursue the Doolin-Dalton gang and bring them in dead or alive. On the day of the shootout, bandits present along with Bill Doolin, Bill Dalton, were Dan Dynamite Dick Clifton, George Redbuck Waitman, George Bitter Creek Newcomb, Charlie Pierce, Arkansas Tom Jones, whose real name is Roy Daughtry, and William Tulsa Jack Blake, also known as Blackjack. The lawmen moving in for arrest were led by Deputy Marshal John Hickson, accompanied by fellow deputies Lafayette Shadley, Tom Houston, Dick Speed, and Jim Masterson, who was the little brother of Bat and Ed Masterson. On September 1st, 1893, 2 covered wagons loaded with a dozen lawmen approached Ingalls. Under the guise they were homesteaders in an attempt to surprise the gang. One of the deputy marshals looked around and noticed a local boy standing there, and he asked the boy if he had seen any of the Doolin gang. And the boy points down the street and says, "Well, there's Blackjack right there." Of course, Blackjack hears it and looks up, and that's when the gunfire began. John Hickson engaged Bitter Creek Newcomb, which resulted in a shootout exchange that left Newcomb badly wounded after firing, at most, 2 rounds. By a first-hand account given later by U.S. Marshal Nix, a large number of outlaws opened fire from a saloon, resulting in the lawmen returning fire and killing 1 horse and firing in such a manner as to force the outlaws to flee out a side door of the saloon, taking refuge in a large livery stable. Civilian saloon owner, only known as Murray, engaged the marshals in a shootout from his saloon's front doorway, during which the marshals shot him in the ribs and arm. Murray was badly wounded and subsequently arrested. 2 years later, Murray would sue the government for his damages. Murray lost his case mostly due to U.S. Marshal Nix staunchly defending his deputy marshal's actions. From an elevated angle, Arkansas Tom Jones opened fire with a rifle over the marshals, causing the lawmen to scatter as they tried to take cover, during which Jones shot Deputy Marshal Thomas Houston. Houston died from his wounds the next day. Ingalls' innocent bystander, young Simmons, was accidentally shot fatally by a stray bullet as he attempted to take cover inside Vaughn's saloon. Another bystander, known only as Old Man Ransom, was hit in the leg. Bill Doolin, the co-leader of the gang, shot and killed Special Deputy Marshal Richard Dick Speed. Fellow co-leader Bill Dalton shot Deputy Marshal Lafayette Shadley. Shadley succumbed to his injuries the day after the gunfight. Prior to being hit, Shadley had fired upon Dalton, breaking the leg of the outlaw's horse, knocking Dalton to the ground. Of the outlaws, Bitter Creek Newcomb was seriously wounded but managed to escape. Dan Dynamite Dick Clifton was wounded in the neck, was still able to ride away. Arkansas Tom Jones, who had shot at least one of the deputies and 1 citizen, was stunned by dynamite thrown into his building placed by Deputy Marshal Jim Masterson and captured. The saloon owner Murray, who had taken up arms and sided with the outlaws, survived. The escaping outlaws halted at the top of a nearby ridge long enough to fire some final shots towards the lawmen, and one of those bullets killed Frank Briggs, an innocent townsperson. Gang member Charlie Pierce, who escaped, was later said to have been wounded during the gunfight and was known to have gone into hiding with Newcomb, at which time both men were cared for by Newcomb's girlfriend Rose Dunn, who was an outlaw in her own right and was referred to as the Rose of Cimarron. Eventually, the gang was wiped out, some by capture, but most by being killed by Deputy U.S. Marshals. Most were brought down by the celebrated 3 guardsmen, Deputy Marshals Heck Thomas, Bill Tillman, and Chris Madsen. Two of the gang, Bitter Creek Newcomb and Charlie Pierce, were killed by Rose's brothers, the Dunn brothers, for the bounty on their head. The last of the gang not to be present at Ingalls was Richard Little Dick West, who was killed in 1898 by Deputy Marshal Chris Madsen. The actual last member to be killed from those present at the Battle of Ingalls was Roy Daughtry, aka Arkansas Tom. He was killed in a shootout with Joplin, Missouri police on August 16, 1924. If you've been keeping score, 5 people died at Ingalls. Deputy Speed was killed during the actual fighting. Deputies Houston and Shadley died from their wounds the following day. Arkansas Tom Jones was the only bad guy caught that day, and instead of lynching him, Jones was transported to the federal prison in Guthrie, Oklahoma Territory. 2 townspeople lost their lives, several more were wounded, and an estimated 8 to 10 horses were killed. Today, nothing remains of the actual frontier town of Ingalls. There are some residences and farms. However, there are a couple replica buildings of the former town. They make wonderful images and photographs. However, since the first time I was here in 2016, the buildings are looking really worn and shabby, possibly have been vandalized or damaged. It could just be due to age. I mean, I know we all kind of fall apart as we get older. In comparison, from my recent visit with my first visit, the Ransom livery barn sign is no longer there. The old wooden horse hitching post out front is lopsided as it is missing one side. The RM Saloon sign appears to be long gone. The Wilson General Store sign on the little building is no longer there. Sad state to see the buildings in these conditions. If you plan on making it out to Ingalls, I would encourage you to do it sooner rather than later. I'm not sure how many more years these structures will be there. If you go, please be respectful. This is literally in someone's front yard. You know the drill. Don't litter or block their driveway. I did go across the street to take pictures at the Ingalls schoolhouse. I'm not sure what year it was built. I could not locate a year. I was coming back through a second time in one day, and on the second time there was an event going on at the school. I thought about stopping to go inside to see if I could get a look around, but on my better judgment, with my luck, it would have been a wedding or funeral, and that would have been awkward, so I kept on moving. A little ways east of the replica is a sign and stone monument honoring the 3 marshals killed in the shootout. It'll be on the right-hand side of the road, on the south side. If you continue driving east, just past the little goat farm, you will run across the Ingalls Cemetery on the north side of the road. I'll be doing a little video soon of the cemetery, so be sure you turn your notification bell on so you don't miss it. In memory of U.S. Marshals Dick Speed, Tom Houston, Leif Shadley, who fell in the line of duty on September 1st, 1893, by Dalton and Doolin Gang. Oklahoma, Outlaw Battle, site about 1 mile southeast of Battle of Ingalls on September 1st, 1893, between a Dalton-Doolin gang and U.S. Marshals, was a climax in bringing law and order to Oklahoma and Indian territories.
3 marshals and 2 residents were killed, several persons were wounded, and 1 outlaw was captured. Ingalls was once the home of Rose Cimarron.
Bonus fun fact about the town of Ingalls: the town was settled as a result of the unassigned land run in 1889 and had a post office from January 22nd, 1890 until October 31st, 1907. It was named for Senator John J. Ingalls of Kansas. Ingalls was an American Republican politician who served as a United States Senator from Kansas. Ingalls is credited with suggesting the Kansas state motto and designing the Kansas state seal. The motto is Ad Astra per Aspera, which means to the stars through difficulties, and is aptly illustrated on the state's seal, which depicts a farm below a sky of stars. I really tried hard to find information why the town was named after the sky, but I really couldn't find a connection. If you know, let me know in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.